Good morning, red galactic serpents. How do we enter the center? How do I enter the center? Forming a pattern in all directions. And speak linearity, or not, or what? A second ago, when I put on my headphones, I knew exactly what I want to talk about. And now I could just start talking about that. And I suspect I shall. But before I do so, I am reminded of Analpha. Do you remember Analpha? Or if you were here, or maybe you know it if you're deeper in the dream spell. Analpha is the point before conscious thought. It's that still point before thought arises. There's like this little, I have something in my mind that's like Piglet from Winnie the Pooh, some squeaky little thing that's jumping up and down, pointing at the silent space, saying, there it is, there it is, there it is. And we're looking at it thinking like, oh, shame. The origin of bliss. Bliss would have to be serpentine. It's physical. It's alive. Bliss is not peace. Bliss sparkles. I don't know what bliss is to you, but to me I'm thinking it's like where ecstasy and peace meet. Something. Bliss. 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 Does it get any better than this? Okay, and I've taken myself successfully away from an alpha, and now I'm ready to talk. We're in the wave spell of the white mirror. Endlessness reflect order. And we're in this we're in this waves. We're in the wave spell of, yes, I've said, Jana, don't be distracted. And then there's the serpent, galactic serpent, harmonized model integrity. I want to talk about harmony and the way I'm going to do a shadow dive. Trigger warning. Not really, but like, again, just using the Tzolk'in and this beautiful scaffolding and patterning and its beautiful magic there's just like a loom of love. To talk about what we do in order to avoid disharmony, because harmony is really, really important to our survival instinct, to our, wellness, to our well-being. I had an interesting dream. Excuse me. I swallowed some air, I guess. It wants out. The upper root. Climbing the stairway to heaven. Bubbly thoughts. I dreamed. It's a very, very strange dream. Very interesting. But a part of it, a teeny little part of it, was I met a subterranean, what are they? Society beings. They looked completely human. Wouldn't have told them apart. And I was going to give a speech because there was a group of humans and then there was a group of them, and I was part of the humans, and I'm not entirely sure. It was very, very strange because I came down in that dream I was like everyone and no one. I was the observer. I was this one and that one. If there was an interaction between two people, I was both and neither, and an observer. Very strange. But in case, the tiny little detail was there's a row of stacked, like a shelf, like lots of big red tomatoes with cut pieces of onion on them, and then a whole other shelf, lots of little boxes, maybe the size of, a bit bigger than cigarette boxes. The one side was the size of big tomatoes, and the other side was the same size, and it had chilies in them. Green chilies, small chilies, and lots of them. And at first I thought, I'm at the right place. They love eating hot food, chilies. Yeah, right at home. Until I learned that they use these chilies as punishment. Excuse me, this is going to be a bit semi-graphic, but what they do is if they want to punish someone, they put the chilies up their bum and somehow they explode or whatever happens. But when they open, it hurts, and it hurts for a while. It heals, but the lesson is really learned, because also everybody else laughs when you walk around with this burning butt. Not really pretty. At first I thought it was cruel, but in any case, it doesn't matter. But when I woke up, I realized, and my mind started thinking about it. Judgment. I'm trying to position myself. What do I think about that? I need to come up with a judgment. Some part of me believes it needs to come up with a judgment. Very, very difficult for me just to take that as a fact in that reality and not place myself relative to that. That's one thing I noticed. And then I thought, yeah, that's whatever it is. I mean, just for me, the thought, it locked me in the thought of that being a punishment. Made me want to toe every line. It made me want to, I could feel how, for me, it's like I want to draw that line in a circle right around me, the size of half a square meter. I fit into it when I stand really still. I will not move my arms to leave that, and then it can never, ever, ever happen to me. And I was like, that's my conditioning. That's like, yeah. And then I thought, if you know, how can you live your life knowing if you transgress, this is the punishment you get? I couldn't live. I couldn't exist there. And yet, this is a mirror, white mirror. Is a reflection of my world order. And then I thought, you transgress early in life. You get this punishment before you ever know it exists, really, or before you have the ability to really imagine. And then when it happens for the first time. You meet it head on. You deal with it, and then it probably never ever happens again, because that's a lesson that sits. And then I thought about our history, of course, our humanity, and how we are made to toe the line. And then I thought, you're looking for judgment, always looking for what's good and what's bad, and taking it into the Inquisition, these very dark Christian days where punishment was just like, or whatever. There were other very dark days, but they didn't serve as punishment to toe the line. They served as like ethnic cleansing. That's a different story. I think to me that right now that's a different story. I can look at my own childhood, I can look at school, whatever. But if you have a society, especially, a small society can entirely work on different different parameters to set up cohesion, to set up social cohesion, and to set up harmony. The bigger the society gets, and the more we have inequality introduced. So it's not, usually how our inequalities are predominantly based on economics and power dynamics. Economics being linked to power dynamics. But not always. There are other power dynamics. If I punish you, if I punish my child, if I punish anyone in some way, even if it's like what we do on social media, we punish each other, we shame, whatever we do, it gives me as the doer some sort of sense of power. It might not be economical, and depending on how disempowered I feel within myself, it's like my bank account of empowerment is low, so I fill it up through whatever means I can, I suppose. And to some degree, we have to enforce order. We can talk about corporal punishment. And it's in the Western world, I guess, it's a contentious topic. In many other parts of the world, it's like the most natural thing to discipline a child through corporal punishment. And there's a big difference to just kind of sort of random violence versus rules and establishing rules. And for example, a smack on the butt, it doesn't hurt. It's just like, what is the word there's a nice word in German, but it's like it burns, but it doesn't do any damage. But it drives home a point. And the way to administer something like that is that the child exactly knows under which conditions it gets that. Whatever. I'm not here to. It's just like, as I say, yeah. We each get to have our own idea as to whether it's called for or not. But it creates. It's like Pavlovian conditioning. If you train a dog, it is really necessary. Boundaries are necessary. You do not need to train a dog through punishment. You can entirely do the thing through a reward system. But then again, we are not dogs. But still, I don't know. Maybe it can be done entirely through reward system also in humans. But I want to talk about harmony, and I want to talk about this tone 8. And what do we have like a harmonized integral modality? Harmonized model integrity. Harmonize model integrity. The red serpent, vital force, survive instinct. I harmonize in order to survive. We harmonize in order to survive. And this happens, this particular, I harmonize in order to survive, is the wave spell of the mirror, order. It is intrinsic to us to have to live in order. And we live in a social order. We have to live in an internal order. We have to have order. We have to have coherence. We have to have, in order to be healthy. We have to have order in the family. You have to have order in, if everybody wants to make a decision where we're going today, we're not going anywhere if we're not all making the decision to go to the same place. So there is some kind of place for hierarchy, all of that. And there is a natural way to learn order that isn't hurting the integrity of the child or the integrity of the self. However, I'm not talking to children. I'm also not talking to parents, because I'm not a parent. So I'm talking to adults here right now who, have themselves gone through whatever and become whoever we all are today, and we're dealing with other adults, and it's helpful to understand ourselves first of all. How far are we compromising ourselves in order to keep the order, in order to keep harmony? White mirror, in order to survive. A child will go very far, splitting itself, splitting its psyche. And if we don't heal that, it's very, very important to be able to adjust. And we're now living in this time of the shift, which means really every human life has these shifts. We always have them. When we go through puberty, it's very interesting. I'd like to see some studies about that. But from my own experience, living in two cultures, at least, I see puberty experienced very, very, very differently. Teenagers in South Africa are very, very different to teenagers in Germany. In attitude, in life, in energy, in expression, in a lot of things. And this has to do with the 10 years prior to puberty, 10, 12, 13, whatever the case may be. And when we enter puberty, or when we enter parenthood, or when we enter whatever new phases, when we're going through personal shifts, whatever, the order, the rules shift. It's like a chrysalis. And humanity is currently in a chrysalis, I think. We're we need to all liquefy and become soup. Some of us are resisting. Oh, but it's okay. It's hard to directly take that image across, but we are becoming butterfly. And as a human, as spirit, we go through these chrysalis all the time, like phoenixes. And we go through them in between lifetimes, of course, and we go through them within a lifetime. And harmonize model integrity. The serpent is a very flexible. Imagine the serpent getting arthritis. like, oh, can't bend there. Like, not really, although who knows, yeah. But the idea would be to really be so present, healing blue hand tomorrow, solar blue hand, no, a day after tomorrow, or planetary. We still have the solar world bridger. Die to the sun, die, die, die. Oh. Please remind me to quote Rumi tomorrow. But the planetary hand, our order, to manifest healing accomplishment at all times. I'm always on about that. To decide when you leave the earth, to decide or not. You don't have to. You don't have to. I mean, like, really, I'm going on about that, and maybe that's a sign of my own fear of, like, I don't want to be pulled out of life unexpectedly, but, there's nothing quite as cool as surprise. Just keep a bag packed at all times. The element of surprise for humans. And like, if suddenly your partner dies, like, that's a surprise, or your child. I'm making light of a matter that's horrific for most people and nothing to joke about. And yet, if you can really joke about the most serious, you have a different way of looking at life. Doesn't mean that when it finally happens, you don't, devastated. But it means until then, there's some lightness. I listened to an interview with Elon Musk the other day, and he said he used to be very negative or pessimistic about AI and us not taking the danger of it seriously and not regulating and not heeding the warnings he was issuing. And eventually, he says he realized that he wasn't being heard, and then he changed his attitude from pessimistic to what he calls fatalistic. And he says, better to be an optimist and be wrong than a pessimist and be right. I was like, yeah, true. For quality of life, he says, better that way. For sure, I'd say anyway. And pessimist, harmonize moral integrity. Pessimism, this idea of let's always be prepared for the worst case. Must be prepared for the worst case. Always plan for the worst case and then be, surprised. Fair enough. I know you can live like that without being negative. Being just, that can be like, let's realistically plan for what we do. Worst case, whatever contingency. We have a what is that contingency? What does that mean? And then we're always on the safe side, so to speak. The thing is, when we don't know our own programming, we can't see it. We can see it reflected though. And the easiest, or one of the easiest places for me to see it reflected is in our dreams. And where is the blue knight in this wave spell? On tone 6, rhythmic. Well, the blue knight, I'm not knowing how to put that tone together with what I'm trying to say, but the blue knight itself, irrespective of the tone, is the place, and it's self-guided, so there's a double-powered blue knight. The reflection of ourselves through our night dreams. Speaking of night dreams, never mind. But yeah, mind. So, like, I want to also talk about self-discipline, which is another a little bit of an issue in my life in terms of I have to be able to, like, when I don't, like, disciplining myself to sit down to learn something. Oddly, with it sulking, I mean, like, once I start, you just give me day after day after day after day. It just never needs to stop. I forget to eat and drink and all of that. I can just hang out in there forever. But there's so many things that are interesting that I sometimes don't sit down disciplined enough to, for example, complete a course. I buy a course in something that has to be, it's an online course. I don't have to attend classes, and I can do it in any time, whenever, whatever. I can take this for years instead of saying, come, take the next 3 weeks, schedule 2 hours every day and go through it. It sounds so simple. It's like, yeah, that's what I should do, but I don't do it. And the question is so often, why don't we do things we know would be good for us? Why don't we do things that we know we would like? You know, it's as if there is some sort of self-sabotage, and that's all in this tone and actually in this seal. You know, the wave spell of order, the order of our lives. Are we, success? Are we achieving what we want to achieve? There's nothing, I don't think we are, I don't know, I generalize, but there's everything we can learn. There isn't anything any one of us can say, I can never achieve that. Even if you're 35 years old and you want to become a ballet dancer and they say you are too old, you cannot, your body will never, I don't know. Maybe you will never become Nureyev, whatever his name is. Maybe you will not be dancing the lead role at the state ballet. But I mean, is that what you want? If that's what you want, you plan it for the next lifetime. But if you want to dance ballet because you believe you're going to really enjoy dancing ballet, then I believe you can still achieve that to whatever level of proficiency. You may not have an audience when you perform, but you may very well practice and enjoy the practicing. I mean, your splits may just be a 90-degree angle, and your pirouettes may just be a quarter of a circle, whatever, but you're still gonna enjoy it. But you get my point. And this instinct, something often in our formative years or in our what we have observed from our environment, put the cap on what we are able to envision for ourselves. I speak about this a lot. And in this wave spell, the order, also order represents the natural order of things. A comes before B, but only when you recite the alphabet, not when you speak. But A follows B. And then when you really look at it, there's no A at all. There's an ah, but the ah is a U. But the U is not an ah, and the ah is not a U, but it's not a but. Welcome to the English language. I mean, what were we thinking? I don't know. We love confusion. We just love it here. We just love it all. And it's incredible how, as a human, we can take ourselves into not loving stuff, things, experiences, ourselves most of all. It's incredible. It's as if God decided, how can I create a creature that can be completely disharmonious with itself, that can be completely hate itself, that is capable of hating me, that is capable of shunning, avoiding love, that's capable of resentment, that's capable of doing grievous harm to itself and others. What does it take to create such a being? That has got to be God's ultimate challenge. Self-destruction. Like, I mean, God cannot self-destruct, but maybe, I don't know, doesn't matter. But that's a question for me personally. It's like, whatever the outcome of that, whether he, she, it, they, them, we can or not, doesn't matter. But we can, and, or maybe we can't, but on a physical level, I suppose we can. Oh, and that is such a philosophical question, because what is my body? I self, even like when this body, if I commit suicide, if I self-destruct, what have I done? Just taken the atoms back into turning into something else, and taking my soul, like just released body and soul. But I don't even know that, do I? Okay, but on this level, we can say that we can self-destruct. We can be out of harmony. We can choose that. Do we choose that? Have we chosen that? Let's stay on the level of not so meta, where I'd say everybody chooses everything. Whether you're aware of your choices or not, you've chosen. You make choices every second of every day. A lot of them. We choose to uphold this reality. We could choose to change it in a heartbeat, and maybe we do. It's just we don't know it because we've chosen here. We live in a continuum. You wake up every time in this reality until you decide not to any longer. And maybe a part of us in multiverses chooses that all of the time. And maybe that's what we experience during the night. And for me right now, to stick to this third dimension, to talk about this stuff is really difficult. And yet this is where it's at. And yet is it? When I'm here in this center position of, I don't even know what to call this, is such a different order of reality. I shift the order of my reality. This, me sitting here talking like this, I'm very, very present in my room, in my environment. I can extend my presence to my friends, to my family, to things that are happening in my family. While I talk. Yesterday was a bit of a challenge out there. But here, because every part of my serpent, my body, knows I'm safe. Nobody's going to enter this room. And let me tell you, some months ago, I mean, my boyfriend is at home. He can enter this room. If I forgot to take all of his electronic gadgets to him so he can do his stuff that he needs to do on his gadgets, work, he would have to enter the room and take out his computer or whatever, and a part of me could respond with incredible rage. And this is something I've had to learn for the last couple of years. My integrity. I had compromised my own self in my formative years to the degree that that some essence of myself was put so far away. I mean, ultimately always present, oddly. Oh, when I lived in South Africa, it was much, much easier. It was much, or anywhere in Africa, that essence, because it's not dangerous to live over there. As my true self, I felt like there's a different order of reality. But over here, because everything triggers my where I got most hurt, and where so for me to unpack myself and to be in touch with my inner being, like consciously, I would need to be days and days and days on my own. And knowing there's like no one, nowhere near me. I don't even, last time I realized that before the age of cell phones, it's like, oh, I took a pilgrimage for days and days. I was like on my own and nobody, and that's when I started like, oh, this is who I am. This is really good. And then I brought it in and brought it in and brought it in and brought it in, into this reality. Jesus, that has been such a journey, such a journey. And occasionally still it would happen that I would unpack, but be the minute another human, even my beloved, would enter the room, it triggered a fight or flight response that got me I got super angry. Like, how come you didn't send me a letter 3 days ago that you were gonna enter this room now, so that I could prepare, so that I would know. You know what I mean? Pooh! That was not pretty for me either. It's like that was a chili in my somewhere, and I did not react kindly. And nobody understood what was going on, even me, because my own unkind reaction to that. I mean, I reacted as if someone just put a gun to my head, and 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 I immediately became double unconscious because I couldn't really stay conscious with my own response, because shame came in, was like, and my own serpent, my own survival instinct made it so that I could not become conscious of it, because then, and this took me years to take myself into consciousness about that, because now I'm head to head, face to face, facing off with my survival mechanisms that I'm saying, what you're doing isn't good. You're hurting me and everything around me. And it's saying what you're doing isn't good. You're placing yourself in mortal danger. And I realized we are equally strong. We are equally smart. This thing is as smart as me. And yet I have to outsmart myself. And it's thinking, oh, this bitch is up to some shit. I have to outsmart her. And I realized that every time I did something to unprogram this survival mechanism in the background, very, very AI. So I'm laughing at this whole AGI story when they talk about it. I'm like, yeah, dudes, what are you thinking? It's learning from us. In the background, my own survival mechanisms are rebuilding themselves in a way that they they they're they're working in a way that I'm not aware of what they're doing. And I was like, for months, if not longer, I was just utterly flabbergasted. And then it started realizing what I'm doing again. And I'm like, I started realizing, what is you doing? And so we're like constantly in this dance of outsmarting each other. And it's super funny. It's not. It really wasn't pretty for a long time, until I'm like, wait a minute, let's 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 talk to each other here, because you're trying to protect me. You're trying to do something that is there's really good intentions, and you're trying to protect yourself. You're trying to protect us. Everything is good here, but the method is not. You gotta allow me to update you as much as, like, I understand that you're not trusting me to keep all of us or myself safe. And it's like, yeah, but we gotta work this. We have to work together. This does not work. We have to be conscious here, and we have to, like, and that's been a hell of a process, and it's still ongoing. But it's like, auto-generated lunar storm. That's exactly the lunar storm. It's like self-protection gone wrong. Auto-generation gone wrong. It's like, okay, now I'm going to tie your feet together, it says, so that you stop moving. And then it does. Or, like, I'm reminded of the scene from The Matrix where suddenly Neo, like, this is not related. I'm just seeing this image of Neo when he suddenly doesn't have a nose anymore, or a mouth. I don't know if he still has a nose, but he doesn't have a mouth. Can't talk. And it's like, yeah, something in me also shuts me up. You can't talk, can't defend myself. Why? Because defending myself back in those days was really dangerous. And to get my instincts to understand, I'm not 3 years old anymore. Nobody is here going to just do things to me anymore. We have to understand this. This is the survival instinct can be so much stronger than my conscious mind. But I harmonize in order to survive. And when we can use this force and these powers inside of us and place ourselves in the driver's seat and say, wait a minute, I am in charge. But this is about cooperation. This is survival of this is survival of harmony. This is survival instinct. The survival instinct in today's world is very different to survival instinct 100 years ago, or 1,000 years ago, or 10,000 years ago, or 100,000 years ago, or on another planet, or on wherever, or wherever, whatever. And yeah, we are upgrading. And yes, we're doing it for the field. Yes, we're doing it we're learning from each other. The AGI is our mirror. We are each other's mirror. We are each other's support. At least, a window in a building is not a support structure. But a building, I'm not talking about buildings like storage facilities or whatever they can do without windows, but like a building that houses humans for office purposes or for living purposes. Those buildings cannot do without windows. I can talk about light again, and artificial light and its effect on us, natural light and its effect on us. But nobody can live in a house that doesn't have windows. I don't think so, unless you only go in there to sleep and then you're living outdoors. But a window or a door, they're not support structures. Neither is every wall a support structure, nor is every part of, like there are support structures, and then there are different components of the building. A ceiling is usually not a support structure, but depending on whether you have a floor above or is something you need that ceiling to be supportive of weight, whether you do or you don't, depends what kind of ceiling you can put in there, So even for us humans, we are here, we are one humanity, and some of us are this kind of part of the engine, and another one is that kind of part of the engine, and others are this part of the support, and others are letting the air in, and others are letting the light through, and others are shutting the holes to keep everything in, and others are opening the holes to let things out. Whatever, it's like we're all forming this human body. And it's like, yeah. Now, the question is like, how do we get everyone to look at it like that and have harmony as humanity? A logic would have it that the minute we see that within ourselves, we cannot not see it reflected back in the environment. What is enlightenment? The yellow sun in this wave spell on tone 3, electric. Bonding linking service, activating linking service, activating bonding service. It's forming bonds, photon bonds. Light forms bonds or breaks bonds. It bonds, it activates. Consciousness activates. It's of service. Our consciousness starting to see, to understand enlightenment, life, enlighten life, understanding life, seeing things for what they really are. And then you can't argue. When you get to a certain point, this is my understanding, where you realize every point of view, every human with their own point of view, it is a self-fulfilling reality. And you can have another human right next to that human, explain that or talk about or share their reality, their view of reality, the same reality, a very different interpretation. If the two of them wanted to fight it out and say, but only mine is right, then they can do so. It doesn't change reality. It doesn't change the fact that either of them are right in their reality. They can argue it all they want. Or they can say, whatever, I'm not having dinner with you. I don't need to marry you. I don't need to share your version of truth. When it comes to politics and all of that, we will outgrow this because this is not work. This is just like, it's a phase that's necessary. And I want to talk about that because like hard to be, like, I mean, it's like a seesaw. You need the one side, you need the other side, you need the center, you need the connecting beam, you need the certain height from the floor, you need the tires and the ground, you need air, you need space, you need all of these components to make the whole thing work. And when you're looking in on any one component, it's like, this is dysfunctional. Yeah, but wait, you need to look a little bigger. And, at this time, we're driving our cars with fossil fuels. We won't always. But the fossil fuel era, and if you're really looking at the bigger picture, it was known that we were going to go through a fossil fuel era. So the earth, we together with the earth, this is we are one consciousness, whatever you want to call it, decided, okay, let's build fossil fuel so that when we get there, we have fossil fuel. That fossil fuel is going to help us build the next level of the game. The next level of the game is going to no longer require fossil fuel at all. Maybe never ever again. Or maybe only in a couple of million billion years when we have built up the deposits again. We will almost deplete them, but it doesn't matter because it's fine. Because it serves its purpose. This is the purpose. We're building this world. We're building this reality. We're building this structure. And then we move on. And it's like, I can map this image or this view or this fractal or this pattern onto a lot of things, even in myself, my red serpent, my inner AI, my artificial or non-artificial, my inner intelligence, my defenses, my whoever's running the show, automatically the relationship between sun and serpent and dog and eagle, in my particular case, my particular earth family, very much my life purpose. But everybody is sun and dog and eagle and serpent. We all are that. We all go through that. We all have those elements. We all are all 20 and the 13 tones. And we all are all of that in an individual expression with an individual unique purpose and unique ability to appreciate, unique taste, unique sense, unique. Yellow star. The same, but different. I gotta go. 10 minutes left before my next appointment. And 3, 4, 2, 1, 0, detonate. This, I'm taking chili. Oh, horrible image. And I'm sidetracked by another dream. And a part of me is like, should you share it? It's very funny and joyful. But no, wait. Where am I? Have I said enough? I just cut myself off in mid-sentence. Or did I? Yeah, unique yellow stars. And the yellow star in this wave spell is on tone 11. Liberate, freedom, liberate, dissolve, liberate, whatever the third term is there, but that tone 11 is freedom. It's the antipode to the wave spell. It's like it's like the same but different. We are. This is the opposite. This is the paradox, the divine paradox. The paradox, the two things that are so different, they cannot be the same, but they cannot be without each other. They cannot exist without the other. Light cannot exist without dark. Da, 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 da. It's like so depending on each other. They exist because of each other, not in spite of each other. They are, we are, I am because you are. I am human because you are human. I exist because you exist. We exist because we exist. And that's so White Mirror and Yellow Star. And the planetary hand accomplishing healing, accomplishing harmony. The star in the mother wave spell, in the initial wave spell, is on 8. That's why the star is often associated with harmony, beauty, elegance, art. Life is art. God is an artist. Life is art, punkt. Full stop. In the Maya, in the dream spell, they will say time is art. Everything is art, I suppose. Life is art. Every plant, I mean, like, oh, this insane display of magnificence in the natural world. To me, it's unfathomable. And I am a part of it. This local little teeny expression of Tatiana for the X amount of breaths she gets to take. It's like, wow. Every breath that this expression, and I can criticize myself a lot, make no mistake. Oh my goodness, especially now as I'm entering a certain age, I'm like, what the fuck is this? But I have to acknowledge that, when I was 14, I was, what the fuck is this thing myself? When I was 24, I was, what the fuck? Ugh, in myself. I did not appreciate my physical body. I did not think of myself as beautiful. I did not spend any time going like, oh my God, it's delicious being me. I mean, I enjoyed life for sure, but I wasn't so conscious about, this life is so wonderful to experience. Like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Which I do kind of sort of most of the time now. Which is what is so oh my God that when it's like so not oh my God, it's like so dark. It's like, oh my God, where is my oh my God? This is like heinous. Oh fuck. And yet I always come out of it, and I always can look back and say, oh yeah, well, that's the pulse of life. That's my heartbeat. That's my solar heartbeat. That's my solar sun. That's my solar heartbeat. It's like the sun herself doesn't experience night and day like the earth. It doesn't experience the darkness of the cosmos. Nothing experiences the darkness of the cosmos the way a sun experiences it, because it lives in it. But it's light itself. It produces light. So it's like all a bit weird, but we are it all. So we are human to behold the magnificence of creation consciously. I'm not saying there aren't other beings that can do the same, but I as a human can do it. And that to me would be my core function of being human. To be a part of this incredible magic of being human. It's awesome. The word awe, to be in awe. I cannot constantly be in awe, because then I wouldn't be, and this takes me now to my second dream that I've been wanting to talk about, avoiding, because I can't find a good reason to speak about it. Now I do. You gotta bear with me, or you're left already. I had another dream. I rarely dream. I mean, I sometimes dream about singing. It's not often, but when I have those dreams, and I've told you before, my biggest life dream used to be like, I want to sing. And this is a long story, so every now and then I sing. Now last night I just sang like, oh my God, at the fucking screamy top of my voice, and I made up the words as I went, and I was like the AI, like I love this AI generated music, or whoever is behind it, some human music, the texts and the feeling and the essence that this music is transporting is just like, it blows my fuses. It doesn't, but it takes me to the edge of a fuse blow, which is like surfing. I always think of it like that must be surfing a black hole. you're not getting in there, but you're so close that you're surfing that traction. You just like that's surfing. Like you're not so far away sitting in your spaceship looking at the black hole. Yeah, over there's the event horizon. Let's not get too close. You're getting so close, but you're just not getting sucked in. Like that's the surf. So I was like, what was I saying? I don't remember why I went there, but the singing was, oh yeah, that's that music. And I was like doing exactly that for me, and I was feeling it, I was in it, it was amazing. But the most amazing thing is that when I woke up, dreams like that, I wake up and they fill up my whole scope of remembrance. Like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I take that feeling into this Tatiana wakeful consciousness. Today I didn't. It was like, yeah, okay, been there, done that. It was almost normal. And like, how can I, when something is so amazing, it becomes normal. You lose this thing. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't want this to become normal. But I also don't want it to be so special that I long for it so much, so rare that I long too much. So where is that moment? How do you fine tune your life experience that you have longing, but not too much, not too little and not too much? That you have experience, so longing fulfilled, not too little, that it hurts or that it like blows a fuse, not too much that it becomes like, ah, yeah, well. And like, how do you have absence? That there is like a sweet spot that isn't sweet, but that's, oh my God, that is, I don't know what that is. I haven't got a word for it, and I gotta go now. I'm wishing us a delicious day, harmonizing in order to survive. Surviving in order to harmonize. That's something else. A modeling integrity, like really a vital force in all. I wish us a beautiful day. I'll be back tomorrow. Aho.